Thank you all for being here. Today's a big day because we get to compete, and that's always the best days for us, where we get a chance to practice and then show everybody what we've been practicing. And then obviously we have our 2025 class that started to roll in today with 5 players that we're really excited about. And we think that is a positive step forward, so we're really happy that we're building something positive and special here.
Where do you get one of those shirts?
So,
Every jump special.
isn't it always? So we have a very special coach in Abby Jump, because not only is she great at basketball, she's very, very creative. But we just want to make sure everybody knows that the CPAW is the main thing.
Coaches always say recruiting is the lifeblood of the program. When you came in, how much of an emphasis did you say, okay, we might not be able to nail that first class because we're starting late and you got to make up a lot of ground, but this first full class we need to get right, and then going out and making it happen like this?
You know, you're right. It is the bloodline for sure. But for us, it's all about developing the culture so we can make sure that we get the players that fit. You know, there's a lot of really good players, but what we believe is that we have the ones that fit into our system, right? But more importantly, into our environment. We want people who buy into the sisterhood, being a Bearcat, that understand that this is going to be bigger than even winning games and competing for championships. We're talking lifelong connections and helping young women turn into leaders. And you have to see value in that in order to be a part of our program. And if you don't, that's okay too. Obviously, we're just looking for the ones that fit, and we think that we hit the mark big time here.
You added Paige Whitted. She's probably the most unknown of your class, but a lot of people don't know she has a professional background with her family. How much do you think that helps with her preparation and eventually getting into your program, being, day one ready?
You know, we're excited about Paige because she has been developed by her dad, who has coached in and with the NBA, and her footwork is impeccable. I think that people are going to love seeing her do some work off ball screens and off of stagger screens and that sort of thing. She is unknown mainly because she's set out a little bit here in the last few months, where she's been battling a couple of injuries, and we just want to make sure that when she gets here she's really healthy, obviously. But she's committed to us, we're committed to her, and she's going to be fun to watch because we love people who can make some threes around here.
How special is it being someone that wore the Cincinnati uniform, played for the Bearcats, that you have so much momentum with the recruiting class right now, and that you're the person who's getting Cincinnati kind of going in the right direction?
Yeah, it's special, and there's no other word to describe it, because when you played here and you know what it means to be a Bearcat, what it means to represent the community and the city of Cincinnati, and you know what comes with this, right? The toughness, the grit, like it's just who we are. And then to have an opportunity to hire a staff that does such a phenomenal job of knowing that, learning that, and then bringing those people in, it's incredibly special to be a part of it.
Along the same lines with your background, when I read the first sentence, the highest ranked recruit in program history, what does that mean for you being a Bearcat and that you just snared the highest ranked recruit in program history?
Well, we work really hard for Cincinnati in our space to be home. And then when you have someone who is home, stay at home. I think what it does is it tells people that this is a place where special things can happen. This is a place where we can compete, a place where, as we are transitioning from one league to the next, that we are going through some changes, that there's someone who believes in our vision, and not only where we are, but where we're going. So Dee is such an important part of that piece, because when she decided that she wanted to be a Bearcat, I think it brought attention to our program, and people said, well, if it's good enough for Dee, well, let me take a serious look at it.
Coach, you look down at this recruiting class between Dee Alexander, Kayla, Callie, Joya, Paige. You talk about Paige a little bit. Talk about Joya a little bit. She's kind of the under-the-radar prospect within this class.
You know, it's interesting when you get someone who's from a smaller town, because a lot of people don't necessarily know about her, but she's a state champion. You know, and she's the best player on her team, and she's going to be again this year. And it's important to us that we don't just get people who score a lot of points, because we think she's arguably the best offensive player in the state. And you want someone who wins. One thing that my mentor used to tell me, Mike Bradbury, said all the time, every team has a leading scorer. It doesn't mean that they can score. And Joy is not that. Joy is a 3-level scorer, and it doesn't matter who she was playing or what level she be playing on, she would still be as effective as she is now. And what I love most about her is that she has some pride defensively too. So it's not just going to be scoring points; she's going to sit down and guard.
Number one player in Ohio, number one player in Maryland, and then also, a top 3 or 4 player in Tennessee as well as Florida. What does that say about your ability to build your program to a national level and the perception and momentum that you guys have right now?
Yeah, it says that my staff works incredibly hard. And I think that us being together and the chemistry that we have, they know not just, again, what a good player is, but who does Trina want to get up and coach every day? What type of person does Trina want to be in the gym with? And who is she going to enjoy developing? And they put so much energy into making sure that these are kids that I want to coach, that I can coach successfully, that's how you end up with these people. It doesn't matter where they're from. It only matters to us that they are fit and they believe in us. Because one thing is for sure, when you're a Bearcat and you're in our program, we're going to believe in you. We're going to fight for you. We're going to do everything we can for you to accomplish every goal that you have. And so to have that reciprocity, I think, is what, again, makes this group really special.
When you got here, you guys had, to say you had a lot of ground to make up on D would probably be putting it mildly. At what point did it feel like we're actually in this thing and we can pull this off? Like, was there any point where there was a realization, or was it just a culmination of all the work that was put in?
Interestingly enough, the first time I talked to Dee, I was with USA Basketball, so I wasn't here. She had come to campus and our coaches were on campus, and so she was talking to them, and then we got a chance to get on the phone then. I think that what she saw was our energy and our passion, but that's not to discount the work that the previous coaches did. That was not the first time she had been on campus. So I think that Dee in a lot of ways wanted to stay home. And I do think that we had to put a product on the floor that she felt like, and a system in place that she felt like she could be successful in. I do think we had to prove that. But ultimately, in my mind, she was ours to lose, because this kid loves the city and she wants to play in front of her family, in front of her friends. She wants to make this program special.
Was there any help from her having 2 kind of big brother figures that are here in Rayvon and Tyler McKinley, that they saw him at her commitment announcement, and she seems like she has a great connection with those 2?
Absolutely. And again, thanks, Wes. Right? Because I think that the experience that they are having, it means a lot, because they're friends, so they're going to talk. And I think sometimes people discount the importance of that. And I think that as we watch our men's program be great, just like it was in the 90s, our women's program follows suit. And I think that that's where we are headed to, where you have our men's program that's out here competing and ranked in the top 25, and now you start seeing Cincinnati in the CPAW, and you're like, hey, where's that? Who was that? And now everybody's paying attention, and those things help us as well.
Kind of just want to ask a question about that transfer portal class you had last summer. You've already seen a lot of production from Hilton, Dunn, and Diva. What difference have they made so far this year in their first 2 games?
Well, for Tanea, we needed a point guard terribly. And I think people who watch us play, it's not to discount last year's team, they would tell you the same thing. We're not point guards. They got put in that position because we had an injury. And I think having Tanea not only brings her talent to the forefront. If you watch this play, she's explosive, she's fast, she's a 3-level scorer. She has this Euro step in transition that makes the crowd ooh and ah. But really it allows Ariel and Reagan to return to their natural wing positions. So now you see Ari playing better. You see Reagan being able to settle in. They're not playing under duress because they have 40 minutes of figuring out who's going to handle the ball. Jill had a bunch of ball handling responsibilities because of that, and now she can be on the receiving end where she belongs because she shoots between 50 and 60% almost every night. So that's Tanea's has been unbelievable to have. Daly, who has knocked down some shots, is getting comfortable, and I think her transition has been fun. She's also long and active defensively, and alliance and those rebounds. Jill jokes about how they compete in practice, and that's one of the reasons why they're both going to rebound well during the games, is because they challenge and compete every single day against each other.
What was your reaction when Dee said she wanted to commit in front of the Oscar statue?
Oh, we screamed. We screamed. We because how big this is, right? We know for every young person that signs to a 4-year scholarship or to play in college. It's a big moment for them. I still don't know if she can understand the magnitude of her decision to come here and what it's going to do for this program and what it's going to do again for the city and our attendance and the way people engage with us. She literally is going to change our program. And what I love most is that she cares about having these teammates. Right, she was instrumental in Kalia, right? We did our work and Kalia loves us and all that stuff, but these highly talented kids want to know that they're going to play with other talented kids. When you get the ones that are not selfish and they don't want to just come in here and shoot the ball 30 times, they want to win and they want to compete and they want to go to the tournament and go deep in the tournament. They want to know who they're going to be playing with. So we recruited this group, sure, individually, but we recruited them under the vision this group was going to be the foundation of where we're headed in this program.
Can you describe, I think I've asked you this, but the uniqueness that she possibly can win 4 state championships, and I don't know how often that's been done, but that, and then people have asked me what did she do, and when I saw her, she played every position. Very good.
She's incredibly versatile. I call her a mid-range killer. You can give her the ball about 15 feet, and it's so hard to get her to not lay it in or not be an and one. People will say that she doesn't shoot the ball well, and I hope they don't guard her, because that's not the case. She just doesn't have to, because she's so good 15 feet and in. So that's what you're going to see. She's unselfish. You see her in transition. She distributes the ball. She can create a finish for herself, and she just makes people around her better. And just because she doesn't shoot the ball every time doesn't mean that she's not capable. It simply means that she cares more about the chemistry on her team and winning championships than what happens for her individually.
What impact has the Big 12 had? You didn't have to recruit to the American here, but you did. At your previous stop, how much different is it having that Big 12 banner when kids get here to say you're going to play in one of the best basketball leagues in America?
It matters. It matters because of the competition night in and night out, right? Whether it's the Horizon League or the American Conference, you are going to play really good teams. You're going to go against really good coaches. But when you get into the Big 12, it is top to bottom. You know, and I've said some of this before. There is no game you walk in and you take a deep breath and say, we have a good chance to win. I don't know that that's the case. I think every time the ball goes up, you better play well if you expect to win. And I think that is what attracts high-level players, is the competition night in, night out, because they want to be pros. And if you're going to play at the professional level and play in the WNBA or high-level overseas, then you're going to want to compete in college and be challenged.
When you look at this 5-lady class, how do you see their individual skill sets meshing with one another?
Yeah, I think that we have people who are in different positions, and that's what the most important thing is. We haven't recruited up anyone's back. I think that because they bring different things, they can all be on the floor together. So where Joya is a combo guard, Kalia is clearly a point guard. But that doesn't mean that she has to have the ball in her hands. When you're on the floor with Joya, on the floor with me, she can take off a run in the break too and get off the ball a little bit. So Callie, to me, shoots the ball really well. And so she's going to be on the receiving end of a lot of this downhill driving, collapsing the defense, kick out. She may have the easiest job of them all. And I think that's why she wanted to come. She saw these good players. She was like, yeah, that's who I would like to pass me the ball. And I would like to just shoot it and lay it in and get these easy buckets.
And as a follow-up, I know you can't talk specifics, but is there room for any more additions in your high school class?
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you for being here.
Thank